Okay, let's dive right into this because today's explainer is an absolute game changer. We are unpacking a totally fascinating blueprint by a creator named BigSurge. It's called The Architect of the Independent African Sound Economy. And look, this isn't just your standard critique of the music industry. It's actually a step-by-step, actionable guide to building a self-sustaining ecosystem completely from scratch. If you are exhausted from just sitting around waiting for some massive system to finally recognize your value, well, buckle up. This is going to completely reframe how you look at your entire career.
The system is failing artists. That bold statement right there is what kicks off this whole philosophy. Now, when you hear that, you probably immediately picture unsigned, struggling artists trying to catch a break, right? But the source points out something way more shocking. We are actually talking about the artists who already signed the dotted line, the ones who supposedly, quote-unquote, made it, yet they're still walking away from the current setup in droves.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why they're walking away. Think about it. A truly functioning industry is dynamic, it's reciprocal. But the current reality? It's basically a glorified waiting room with a legally binding contract. You sign, and then you just wait. You wait for your turn for a tiny sliver of the marketing budget. You literally sit inside a building surrounded by incredible talent, watching someone else blow up while your own music is just sitting there, decaying in a forgotten folder on some label's hard drive. No wonder people are frustrated.
To really ground this, the source calls out some massive, specific names in the African music scene. We're talking about Crayon, El Sterer, Muiz, King Madi, Zinoliski. These are definitely not people who didn't make it. No, they got deep inside the machine, and their experiences prove that the system is fundamentally built to serve the label, not the creator. Think about the logic here. If the system is failing the very top-tier talent that made it inside the walls, the core design itself is fundamentally broken.
So the narrative makes a super powerful pivot right about here. We all know the industry is broken, right? We talk about it constantly. But honestly, ranting online is just hope without an actual action plan. This philosophy actively challenges us to stop waiting for the older generations or the government to magically swoop in and fix things for us. We cannot just inherit broken infrastructure and pretend it's a future. Actually, scratch that. It's not even a future. It's just repeating the past. If we genuinely want to lead tomorrow, we literally have to step up and design it today.
So how do you actually build it? Well, it starts with you, the individual, and it's rooted in this incredible Japanese concept called Ikigai. Basically, it's the reason you wake up in the morning. It is the exact sweet spot, that intersection of what you absolutely love, what you're really good at, what the world actually needs, and what you can get paid for. In this new economy we're talking about, your personal Ikigai literally becomes your authority niche. You build true authority by going incredibly deep into this one specific intersection, not just by being the loudest voice in the room.
Once you have that foundation, the real architecting begins. The Manifesto lays out a super clear, four-step path to start building your own ecosystem right now. First, you pick a highly specific problem that your exact niche faces. Second, you create a dedicated solution for it. Third, you leverage tools like AI to design and map the whole thing out. And finally, you pitch it directly to the community you're naturally gathering. This is exactly how new infrastructure is born. It happens through individual builders solving real, hyper-specific problems.
Now, if looking at those steps feels a little overwhelming, take a breath, because here is a beautifully counterintuitive takeaway. You really do not need a perfect plan. If you don't have the cash or resources to build a polished product yet, honestly, just set up a camera and talk directly to the lens about the problem. That's it. Just educating people around a specific pain point acts like a magnet. It naturally attracts the exact folks who are feeling that same pain. And the clarity on what you actually need to build, that will just naturally follow. Let's move to the next concept and see how this builds incredible momentum. This physical act of simply creating triggers what the source calls the magnetism of motion. Think about it for a second. Every single song you record, every video or post you drop, that is you staying in motion. And science literally tells us that motion creates vibration, and a consistent vibration creates a frequency. When you relentlessly stay in motion, you keep raising your frequency until you become completely magnetic.
A raised frequency is magnetic. It's such a profound idea. As you consistently put in the work, you naturally just start pulling the right collaborations, the right deals, and the right rooms straight into your orbit. It isn't blind luck, it's absolute alignment. And conversely, the bad habits and the people who just don't match that new frequency, they naturally just fall away. This individual magnetism is exactly what prepares you for the next massive step, which is collective collaboration.
But to truly understand the stakes here, we have to look at the specific context of this manifesto.
10 to 0. The source explains that being born in an average income household in Nigeria basically means life is leading you 10 to 0 before the referee even blows the whistle. It is a massive systemic deficit. You're starting without that generational wealth or those pre-built easy pathways that folks in other parts of the world might take for granted.
Now, what's really interesting here is how you can completely flip that massive 10 to 0 deficit into the ultimate comeback story. The source uses this brilliant football analogy. Okay, so you might be down 10 points, but if you're a relentless creator, you essentially just put Messi on your team. If you lock in and master a high-income skill, boom, you just signed Ronaldo. And if you learn how to break down complex ideas clearly for people, Neymar just walked onto the pitch. By stacking these specific skills and collaborating, you are literally building a world-class squad out of thin air.
So the crucial point is, how do these skilled individuals actually change the whole industry? It happens by shifting away from passive communities and building living, breathing ecosystems. We all know what modern communities look like, right? Usually it's just a noisy group chat where people drop links to their own stuff into the void and then completely disappear. But an ecosystem, that is like nature. The tree doesn't compete with the river. Every single part has a vital role. Everyone contributes their own unique frequency, and because of that collective motion, the entire mini-economy absolutely thrives.
And listen, this isn't just a bunch of nice-sounding theory. BigSurge is actively building a real living ecosystem called the Independent African Sound. In practice, this looks like hosting live listening sessions for real-time honest feedback. It's creating a shared knowledge base so emerging talent can actually learn the business side without paying thousands to expensive experts. It is a highly curated pool where producers, artists, and executives seamlessly collaborate. It's a self-sustaining mini-economy built completely outside of the traditional label system.
All of this brings us to this incredibly powerful manifesto statement. The future of African music is not going to be decided by a label in Atlanta or a publisher in London. It's going to be decided by us. I mean, wow. It is being decided right now, today, in these independent rooms, by high-frequency builders who are absolutely done waiting for permission to change the world.
Which leaves us with one unavoidable question today. Are you ready to build? We know the waiting room is broken, we've seen the proof, and we know that creating a true ecosystem of shared value and relentless motion is the only real way out. So what's it going to be? Are you going to keep sitting in that waiting room hoping someone calls your name? Or are you going to find your niche and architect your very own economy? Thanks so much for exploring this incredible blueprint with me, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.